Hallo zusammen! As a German who loves to watch movies and shows, it's always fascinating to see which American TV shows get official German titles, meaning translations, and which ones keep their English titles at the movies, on German TV, or the German versions of Amazon, Netflix, and the like. But why do some original English titles get translated and others don't? Are there specific reasons? I mean, isn't there a chance that the potential German translations of those titles would sound even better, for German ears at least? Or would they sound quite strange compared to the originals? Let's try to find out more about this by translating 15 TV shows that don't have an exact German title. Let's start with Breaking Bad. You could translate it to Schlechtes Brechen, but first, it sounds really strange because in German, brechen can also mean to vomit, and second, in combination with Schlechtes, which is an inflected form of the adjective schlecht, bad, it sounds even worse. Yeah, definitely a good decision to keep the English title. How I Met Your Mother. Gotta be honest, the English title sounds slightly clumsy as well, but the potential German translation, Wie ich eure Mutter kennenlernte, sounds equally strange and it's even a bit longer. By the way, it's die Mutter, Singular, die Mütter, Plural, the mother. The Walking Dead. One of my favorite TV shows, although I've gotta admit that the current season, which is season 8 as of July 2018, wasn't catching me as much as the previous ones did, but I still love watching Die wandelnden Toten. That's the hypothetical German title. Die wandelnden Toten. In this case, I really think the theoretical German translation would almost work equally well for the German audience, but the fascination might even be a bit higher when you say The Walking Dead. Maybe they also kept the English title because of the conjugated verb wandelnden and its slightly sloppy sound, especially when you speak quite fast. Die wandelnden Toten. You can't really pronounce that fast. There's no elegant way to say that fast. The infinite form is wandeln, to slender, saunter, stroll or walk. And of course, they would also have to rename the comics for the German audience, have different merchandise, etc. And I think that's simply another reason why many producers and publishers decide to keep the English names. The English titles, that is, because at the end of the day, it saves money. Game of Thrones. Well, I think you could have used the theoretical German title Spiel der Throne. But since the original book series is also called Game of Thrones and they didn't translate those, it wouldn't make too much sense to translate the show's title. It's Das Spiel, Singular, Die Spiele, Plural, The Game, and Der Thron, Singular, Die Throne, Plural, Throne. Stranger Things. Also one of my all-time favorite shows. I love that one. And it's the most recent one I've checked out as well. I've binge-watched all episodes only a few weeks ago. However, there's absolutely no question, no doubt for me personally, that the English title sounds way better than the hypothetical German translation. Merkwürdigere Dinge. Not only judging by the sound of it, but also by looking at it. Merkwürdigere is a compared form of the adjective merkwürdig, strange or weird. It's das Ding, Singular, die Dinge, Plural, the thing. Of course, you could also say komischere Dinge, which means the same, but it still sounds stranger than the English title. And besides that, it's also a bit longer. And generally speaking, I guess that's another reason why many shows keep their original English title in Germany, because, well, pretty much of language economic reasons. What does that mean? So, if a potential German translation sounds or is longer than the original English title, it doesn't flow or work as well. So in those cases, it's better to keep the English titles. House of Cards. Okay, yeah, Kevin Spacey, and I haven't watched it yet, but I wanted to include this one because it shows a very typical and common way to translate certain English terms to German. English terms often change to compound words in the German language. So in English, House of Cards contains 3 single yet semantically interlinked terms. And in German, they meld or merge to the compound word Kartenhaus. Das Kartenhaus, Singular, die Kartenhäuser, Plural, House of Cards. In that sense, a potential German title that goes Das Kartenhaus might sound intriguing as well. One should include the article das in that case though, because without it, it sounds a bit, well, stiff, lonely, and even strange, I reckon. Das Kartenhaus. The Handmaid's Tale. Language-wise, on a very general level, this original title even resembles a little bit of German, because there is the old and outdated German term Die Maid. Many younger Germans might have noticed that term in the 70s Schlager song Schöne Maid by Toni Marshall. That's also how I became aware of the term back in the day, gotta be honest. And no, I don't listen to Schlager at all, but pretty much every German will have listened to parts of that song at some point, I guess. Anyway, in German, this show would be called Die Geschichte der Magd. So we would actually mention Tale before we'd say handmaid. But it's still expressed in the genitive case. Whose tale? The Handmaid's Tale. Wessen Geschichte? Die Geschichte der Magd. Etymologically, meaning regarding the origin and meaning of words, the old-fashioned German term Die Maid isn't a direct translation of the handmaid though, even though it slightly relates to it. We'd rather use the equally outdated and old term Die Magd, which is directly related to Die Maid linguistically. A Magd was a woman who got occupied for handling rather simple, like household work for instance. Die Maid was a more neutral and general term for a young woman that's not married yet. By the way, the standard and still common German noun das Mädchen singular, die Mädchen plural, which means girl, actually is a minimized form of the outdated term die Magd. The actual German version of The Handmaid's Tale features a subtitle, Der Report der Magd, The Handmaid's Report, so it pretty much resembles the English title. American Horror Story. To be honest, I can't think of a single German version of this title that doesn't sound off or strange. I mean, amerikanische Horrorgeschichte sounds and, in fact, is longer, and it sounds even stranger without adding a definite article, die amerikanische Horrorgeschichte, or rather an indefinite article, eine amerikanische Horrorgeschichte. The latter option sounds the most okayish, I'd say, but it still sounds a bit stiff and artificial. It's die Geschichte, singular, die Geschichten, plural, the story. Haven't watched that show yet, by the way. Is it great? Like, should I give it a try? Better Call Saul. The rhyming figure of this original title can't really be resembled or reproduced in German, so obviously the English title sounds a bit more elegant in that sense. In German, it would be something like Ruf besser Saul an, and probably like Germans that aren't familiar with the name Saul because it doesn't really exist in German all that often, I don't think. They might actually say Saul, which sounds really strange. Sorry to anyone that's named Saul or Saul in Germany, I mean, you know, sorry. So Ruf besser Saul an doesn't even closely sound as prompting and direct as the English title. Obvious choice in this case. Attention, attention, explicit language incoming. The end of the fucking world. Das Ende der verdammten Welt. The German title could very well work, but I guess they kept the English one because in direct comparison, and also because it's an English term and Germans are usually used to German terms or things that sound German, fucking sounds more explicit or stronger and fits the purpose a bit better, I guess. In a context like this, you could also translate fucking to something like beschissen, das Ende der beschissenen Welt. The Vampire Diaries. Interestingly enough, someone decided to get rid of the article for the German title, which in fact is the English title without the article. The German title would be Die Vampir-Tagebücher. Das Tagebuch singular, die Tagebücher plural, the diary. And that term alone is longer than diaries. So, nope. Prison Break. A literal translation doesn't work too well. It would be Gefängnisbruch, which doesn't exist like that. It's rather Gefängnisausbruch. And once again, this would be a compound word. Der Gefängnisausbruch singular, die Gefängnisausbrüche plural. Prison breakout. You could use the German title, Gefängnisausbruch, but it doesn't sound as intriguing and interesting as prison break. At least not to German ears, I'd say. Supernatural. Well, the German title could technically work. It would be übernatürlich. But again, using a German adjective like this doesn't sound as interesting, also once again because using an English title sounds a bit fresher, a bit more, well, dare I say, unknown to German ears, because we're not that used to those terms in comparison, we don't hear them every day. Black Mirror. Sound-wise or phonetically, the German translation Schwarzer Spiegel would be an alliteration, which sounds quite nice. I don't know if I'd prefer it over the English title though. And last but not least, Altered Carbon versus Verändertes Carbon. Nope, the English title sounds more on point. Again, you could also argue with language economical reasons, so the German title would simply be a tad longer and sound more clumsy therefore. The actual German version of Altered Carbon features a subtitle, Das Unsterblichkeitsprogramm, The Immortality Program. And judging from a teaser and snippets I've seen, this show looks quite promising. Might watch that one as well. Alright guys, of course I could have named many more shows and I will probably do a follow-up video to this one, so feel free to tell me more TV shows I could try to Germanize, so to speak, in the comments down below. And also check out my similar video regarding movies. Find many links to my social media pages and support options in the video description. Thanks for checking those out and thanks for watching. I'm your Vlog Dave, tschüss und bis zum nächsten Mal.